What if everything you're going through right now, the waiting, the overlooking, the hidden seasons, is actually God preparing you for something that you cannot see? Think about it. But welcome back to the Hidden Season series. I'm glad you're here. If you don't know me, I'm Brian. I'm a content creator here in the DFW area, taking y'all through my faith journey and what I've been through in the hidden seasons and what I'm currently going through, because it changed every time. But if you're new here, welcome. If you're returning, welcome back. On today's episode, we're going to speak about the life of David. And I'm going from David's first, how he was entered the scene, all the way until when he was in the wilderness writing Psalms. And I need y'all to stay with me on this one, because at the end, you will get practicals for your everyday life. But in 1 Samuel 16, we see David, the youngest son of Jesse, and nobody's first pick. When God sent the prophet Samuel to anoint the next king of Israel, Jesse didn't even call him in from the field. Jesse called all the other sons, the one that looked the part, had the resume, had the stature, and the presence. But here's what we don't see. While he was doing that, God was talking to Sam, saying, hey, they not it. Go ask for more. Then Samuel turned to Jesse and basically said, do you have any more sons? And Jesse basically said, well, we do have one, but he's out watching the sheep. And watching the sheep was David's title. That was his season. But here's what nobody saw. While David was out in the pasture, God was building something in him. He was communing with God. He was learning to hear God's voice, feel his presence, fighting off both lions and bears with his bare hands to protect the flock. Nobody was watching and nobody was clapping, but God was developing him. So the hidden season is not a wasted season. God doesn't waste anything. Now, at the same time, we see King Saul, the current king, has started walking in disobedience. Pride got in the way, ego got in the way, and when those things replace obedience, the presence of God shifts. So an evil spirit became tormenting Saul, and his servants had to look for someone that can bring peace through music. And who did they find? And if you guessed David, you're right. So while David was also in the pasture, he was also singing praises to God, worshiping, playing his lyre out in the field when nobody's watching. So God used the very thing that David cultivated in a hidden season to open the door to the palace. He didn't have to force it, and he didn't have to promote himself. He just had to be faithful with what was already in his hands. So I'm going to pause right here and ask, what is in your hands right now? What is the thing that you've been treating like it's too small? What gift, what talent, what skill, what daily faithfulness is God using to set up your next open door? Think about it, and if you have it, drop it in the comments. Fast forward to chapter 17, the infamous chapter of David versus Goliath. And Goliath, in this stance, he was 9 feet tall. Just think about that. You know, you got LeBron James, people that are 7 feet, even reaching, I think back in the old times, it's like somebody was like 8 foot something. But just think about that. Taller than all the basketball players. He was defiling God's people for 40 days straight. 40 days, it's not like it was 1 week, 2 weeks, 40 days. So that's almost 2 months. And every trained soldier in that time was frozen in fear. They had the numbers, that's the thing. They could have took them all at once, but they were so scared that even if they did that, the other side would win, so the Philistines would win. So David was at home helping out his father. His father basically said, hey, your brothers are out on the field, give them this food. So as he was traveling, he came to the scene of what was going on in the battlefield and heard Goliath talking smack and said, who is this uncircumcised Philistine that he should defy the armies of the living God? And said, hey, if no one can face this giant, I will. Everyone around him doubted him. His brothers were embarrassed. He went to King Saul. King Saul basically put on his armor for David. David couldn't even move at that point. So he said, you know what? I got to take this all because this is too much for me. So David goes to the river to get up 5 smooth stones and a sling. But the sling he was using for years in the pasture became his instrument for this battle. So I know I'm trying to Put all this stuff in. Use what's in your hands. That's the key thing of this video. But what we don't see is the sling itself. And trained hands, a sling and whatever, if it's rocks, can launch over 100 miles per hour with a deadly accuracy. If you haven't seen that, look on YouTube because there are multiple videos of that. But one stone, Goliath goes down. And David used Goliath's own sword to chop Goliath's head off and give it to the king like, hey, King Saul, I killed your giant. But after the victory, David was celebrated more than Saul. And Saul's pride couldn't handle it. He became more jealous to the point that he wanted David killed. Saul's oldest son, Jonathan, and his best friend, or David's closest friend, told David, say, hey, I think my dad is trying to kill you. And just like that, in a blink of an eye, snap of your fingers, David went from the palace to the wilderness, hunted, hiding, and uncertain. And in that wilderness, not the palace, not the battlefield, where David writes the most powerful words that we still quote today. And almost half of the book of Psalms, including the one you probably know. Psalms 23, written by a man who was hunted, hiding for his life because King Saul wanted him dead. And he wrote this, the Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Yo, I can stop it right here. End of the video, say, come back next time. But David knew what a shepherd did because he was one when he was in the pasture watching the sheep. He knew the shepherd provides, protects, leads, and never abandons the flock. And in the wilderness, he looked at his own life. He said, hey, that's what God is to me. Then he continues, God leads me beside still waters, restores my soul, walks with him through the valley of the shadow of death. And even in the presence of his enemies, God is setting a table, not a crumb, a table. And he ends with this. This is like the most powerful part. Surely goodness and mercy shall follow me all the days of my life. And that word follow in Hebrew means to pursue, aggressively, relentlessly. God's goodness wasn't trailing behind David, it was chasing him down. I'm gonna let that land real quick. God's goodness is chasing you, even in the hard season, especially in the hard season. But you say, hey Brian, how can I use this in my everyday life? I know we had the Bible study, but what are some practicals? I got you, fam. First thing, obedience is better than sacrifice. In 1 Samuel 15:22, I will put that in the description. Saul lost everything because he did it his own way. The difference was David's heart posture towards God was, I'm in the passenger seat, let God be the driver. The second thing, the hidden season is not a punishment, it's for preparation. What God is building in you right now, in the quiet, in the unseen, that is what he's going to use later. So don't despise it. Third, I know I'm going to keep hitting this. Use what's in your hands. David didn't have to wait for better weapons. He used what God has already given him. That gift, that skill, that instrument that you already carry. That's enough for God to work with. And finally, a surrendered life is not a defeated life. It's a life that trusts God enough to say, hey, I do not have to control every outcome. I can walk through the valley because I know who is with me. If y'all made it this far in the video, I just want to thank you. Y'all a real one. I know it's a little bit longer than my actual videos, but I'm trying to do something new. But I pray that y'all got something from this video, that you can use it in your everyday life. And if you're in the hidden season right now, I just want to encourage y'all to keep going. If you're facing a giant, know that you can use what's in your hands. And if you feel like God's goodness, presence has passed you by, I promise you this, he is still chasing after you. Your better days are ahead. I'm going to say that again. Your better days are ahead. They are not behind you. So keep trusting him, keep praying, keep fasting, keep believing that God is still doing a work in you. And I will see all y'all on my next episode. Stay tuned for the HiddenSZN series.